Hello. I know I need to get a proper introduction and the music and all that stuff. But that day is not today. I've been trying to come online for about 2 hours, but things happen. So, what's exciting for me today is it doesn't look any different to you, but this is my new Yeti mic. So I did an unboxing for my patrons on my Patreon. Always feel free to join my Patreon. You can join for as little as $1 a month. Am I allowed to say that on Twitch? I don't even know. Anyways, so I did my little unboxing because the Yeti mic I had before, when it works fantastic. But it would cut in and out. It had some sort of issue. It wasn't the cord. It was, I went through it all. And the people at the Yeti place are magnificent. If you ever have an issue with your Yeti mic and you have your receipt, uh, type them a little email like I did. You just never know. They may be able to help you and help you with your issues instead of going on YouTube and because I was trying to figure out how to fix it myself. But it involved taking the mic apart, getting welding iron and soldering stuff. It's like, no, I can work with a screwdriver. That's my speed. I'm not welding and soldering a microphone. There's no way. Yeah, so I was glad I contacted them because they sent me a replacement after I had to do some videos and photos for them and stuff to prove, to indicate what the issue was, and then the receipts and stuff to show that I actually owned it and so on and so forth. So I just installed this mic a few minutes ago, and so it looks like it's working properly. I did a little test video, but I haven't tried it on my Twitch yet. So, and I know when I look on my phone and try to see things, that's irrelevant because life doesn't, because I like just make things worse. Sometimes when we're monitoring our things, it just makes it worse. I've noticed that about my own streams, but right now I'm going to just do the retweet or whatever to Twitch to show that I'm online. And I am expecting a phone call. Sorry, I'm live on Twitch, putting to my Twitter account. I'm expecting a phone call from my dad because we've had some excitement in the family. Not. I know last time I came on and was trying to do a writing stream, which is what I'm going to try to do when I shut up. I got a phone call just when we were getting started on that stream, and I left abruptly and never came back until yesterday when I went for a walk by the lake. However, why that phone call was important was because it was a job interview. Otherwise, I wouldn't have just like stopped my stream just for any old phone call. But that was an exciting job interview phone call, and I'm still waiting for the next round of what that might mean. But that phone call ended up lasting over an hour. No, not quite an hour. What am I saying? It was about an hour phone call out of the blue, and I was not expecting that phone call. And it's been very exciting waiting for the aftermath of that phone call, whether I got the job or not. I figure as the days tick on, chances are less and less as time goes on. I'm not new to the party by any means, so I'm not getting my hopes up. However, I am excited to even have had the opportunity to have the interview. Those of you that are job hunting on any kind of thing, it's always good to practice interviews, whether you get them or not. Hello. Sorry, I'm at that in the chat room so far away. How are you? Oh, look, we got it. Oh, it's the Doom. It's the Doom people. It's Sir Doom 666 and Lady Doom 420. Yeah, so I'm just saying how I'm waiting to hear uh, from my dad about my mom. He's visiting her this afternoon, and I think you guys you're in the same time zone as me. So we're at 4:33 in the afternoon, and I'm basically just testing my mic, and I'm gonna try and do a little bit of writing. And yeah, so my dad may call any minute, or it may be any hour, and so I will hang up when he calls. But in the meantime, I have an upset stomach, wondering what's going on because I don't know. Oh, for those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, my mom fell on New Year's Eve day morning. No, New Year's Eve. Yeah. December 31st at 4 in the morning, my dad heard some screaming and realized it was his wife and went running to find out. And it was my mom lying on the floor screaming. My mom has really bad Alzheimer's. We saw her last week for Christmas, and she kind of knew who we were. She knew my name was Sephora, but she thought I was her sister. Anyways, and she knew the names of my children, but didn't quite connect who they were to her. Maybe her children. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he found her on the floor and I wasn't sure what was happening. And she kept begging him not to call the ambulance to go to the hospital and stuff. But ultimately, he did do that, and they came and took her away. And then it's been very difficult to get information because my dad, like, just had his birthday. He's 89. My mom's 87. And ever since he had a heart attack about 5 years ago and they shoved all those tubes down his throat, he hasn't been able to talk very well. And so when he gets excited or agitated, it's even worse. So he kind of whispers, and I don't want to, like, make him talk too much more than he has to. Anyways, so it's been hard to understand exactly. I don't think he knows. He won't know till he goes to the hospital today exactly what happened and what this means. We just know that she broke her hip and they fixed it. That's all we know. We don't know what that means. We don't know if there's wheelchairs or walkers or if she'll be able to jog or whatever. She's really healthy. She is very healthy. So her prognosis will be good, although she may have osteoporosis. I don't know. And then I'm gonna have it. Yeah. So I've been just hoping this mic sounds good. Like I said, I just installed it and realized I'd been using the boom arm backwards when I only got the boom arm about 3 weeks ago. And one of the reasons I got it was because my mic kept screwing up, and I thought maybe it was a boom arm thing, but no, it was a Yeti mic thing. But anyways, thank you for the healing vibes for my mom if you're still watching. I just was explaining it to those who don't know what the hell we're talking about. All right, so to get my mind off things, what else was I think there was something else. Yeah, so I have my phone on breaking news. Oh my God, our idiot premier. You know, here in Canada, each province has a dude in charge, and we call him the premier. In the states, each state has a dude in charge, like a governor or whatever. And so, anyways, that's what this is. So, Ford meeting with cabinet to discuss implementing more COVID-19 restrictions sources. Yeah, so I guess maybe before I do anything, for anyone who's interested, I'm in Toronto. Oh, yeah, it's a big article. What are they saying? I can't really read it because then that would be, is that copyrighted? I don't even know anymore what's considered copyright infringement. Sometimes you see people watching entire TV shows and they're fine. Someone shows a picture of Bart Simpson's and their content is shut down forever. I don't know. Okay, so Doug Ford is meeting with his cabinet, finalize COVID-19 restrictions. This is breaking news that just came in at 4:30, and it's 4:38. So I just want to see what's happening in this province of ours. Slew of modifications. Isolation dropped to 5 days from 10 if you're vaccinated. In-person learning is slated for January the 5th. That's for the opening up school for the kids. Normally school would have opened tomorrow, which is the 3rd, but they're moving it for 2 whole days. It's because somehow 2 days is going to prepare everything for the COVID, whatever. Indoor gatherings such as arenas, concert venues, and theaters are limited to 1,000 people, but you can't go shopping, whatever. Smaller venues remain half capacity, blah, blah, blah. But I guess they're trying to change all this. There's no point in even reading this to you because they're having a meeting right now to change it all. Oh, thank you. I don't know what I gotta get. I don't have my alerts set up on this, but thank you for following or whatever just happened. I just know it dinged. Anyway, so yeah, so here in Ontario, we're the Footloose town. You know, if you ever saw the show or movie Footloose, dancing and singing was banned here a couple weeks ago, as it was the year before, and about a week before New Year's Eve, all the bars had to be closed around 10 o'clock and out by 11. I personally haven't been anywhere for anything, so yes. Oh my good God. Yeah, so I still remember 2 years ago, hey, we'll flatten the curve in a week, but yeah, we know how that went, and that did not went. It did not went at all. Uh, yeah, and Montreal, or Quebec, I should say Quebec. Montreal's just a city in Quebec for those that are not from Canada. Quebec on New Year's Eve day suddenly went hardcore, and they put back in the lockdown that they had before. They had the lockdown before of, it's like we didn't have this in Toronto at all ever. People couldn't go outside past 10 o'clock at night, and between or there's a curfew from 10 at night till 5 in the morning. And if you're caught out past the curfew and you're not coming and going from work, and there's a couple of other things like doctor or getting prescriptions and things like that, you can get a fine anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000. So this morning on the news, they were talking about how now they're going to put in, you can actually walk your dog as well between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., which is good. I don't have a dog anymore, but I know you can't tell your dog you can't go outside after 10 o'clock, and for a lot of people, those nighttime walks are really nice. Like when I'm pet sitting and stuff, or even when I used to have an animal, nighttime walks are really refreshing. And I'm sure, especially in a pandemic when there's not much else to do and you're used to walking your animal around 11 or 12, so you can sleep in the morning, you need that time. You need to be able to walk your animal without getting arrested. So all of a sudden everyone's going to get dogs again, right? Yeah, there's going to be a rush on animals once more, as there was before. Anyways, so that's kind of, what else can I share with you? Yeah, so I stayed in New Year's Eve. I watched Cousin Catnip's channel till 3 in the morning. Thought about my mom a lot, who at that point was in the hospital, but we didn't know what was wrong with her. But then she had her operation Saturday morning. And I will say to people not from Canada that, sometimes I see things on the internet about, how you have to wait months and years for operations and stuff in Canada, and our free healthcare system doesn't work. It's like, no, man. My dad called the ambulance. They came. She went to the hospital. The very next morning, she had a hip surgery operation. And she's still in the hospital now. I don't know how long for. Well, I'll find all that out later today. And the only thing it'll cost is the cost of the ambulance ride, which will probably be about $300, and whatever my dad will pay for parking to go visit her. That won't cost him or my mom a dime on top of that. And so that's our healthcare system in action here in Canada, which is very comforting. Okay, so maybe I should get on with the whole working on this story. I'm just going to do a little bit because I'm, again, super distracted. Let me just organize my little thing here. Should I leave it like that? It's like a giant ice cube behind me. Okay, so I have to make sure my screensaver's like the Loki Gator, but I don't know if I'll get in trouble from Disney for showing that, right? Yeah. So I better pull this down. I'm looking over there because I have two monitors. One is my TV, which is over there, and that's where my chat window is too. So I have to keep looking over to see if anyone's talking to me, which I doubt it. Who wants to talk to me today? I don't know. All right, so I've been working on, all I'm trying to do right now with this little piece that I have here for you is nothing extravagant or crazy. Basically, I'm working on a story. The working title is Four Witches and a Dude. I don't know what to call it yet. So that's what it is. And basically what I did was last spring, I actually voice dictated the whole book. And so now I'm going through and I'm just trying to clean up some of the punctuation and grammar. And I'm not working that hard on making the writing good yet because dictating is a totally different method of writing than typing, at least for me. And so right now I'm just trying to pull together, just try and punctuate, but I'm still not doing really good writing. So it's embarrassing for me to even show this because it's just brainstorming kind of writing. It's not real writing. And I've never, as I said in the video I did last week, or the Twitch production or whatever we call these things, I'm not used to writing with people watching. It's very scary for me, even though I'm a horror writer. This is scary for me. I got to stop sitting on my foot. Okay, and I don't know how my microphone. I can see my microphone is working, but I don't know if it's too loud or I'm screaming or. I'm hoping it's not cutting in and out because that's the whole point. But it looks pretty solid, I think. So yeah, shut up, Sephra, and get to work. So yeah, so if I suddenly have to disappear, it's because my dad has called. Oh, Miss Nettie, thank you for following me. I looked at my phone. Now I can see. I got to put the Dicky Doos on this because I have other scenes. Anyone who's on Twitch knows you have all the different pages for your scenes. And so this scene I just made the other day for writing, but I forgot to put all the little fun bits on of, you know, the people walking and stuff when you get a follow. And I really got to up my game on all that stuff. That's part of my New Year's resolution, is being better with my Twitch channel and upping my game on all the playful fun things and actually doing shit on Twitch. Okay, so this will be interesting because I'm actually typing over on that screen, but looking at this screen. Which you guys don't care. You don't care at all about my babblings. Okay. So here. So I have a character. I don't even know who's talking. I just pulled this out to see. Well, I guess you just have to pick your belief system. Maybe it's some kind of religion or something. But I'll tell you this. There's a lot in the universe we don't know. So why do we think we know? All right. So let's clean that little bit of dialogue up better. Because it's brutal. Okay, well, I guess you just have to pick your belief system. So we don't have to say I guess again because we already guessed. So we clean that a little bit. Maybe it's kind of like religion. And then we'll make that a stronger statement by getting rid of the or something. But I'll tell you this. Beep. Need a comma. There's a lot in the universe we don't know. So why do we think we know? There's a little space there. Fix that. Closing quotation marks. And whoever the hell's talking to whoever they're talking to. It's only two people in this scene. I just can't remember who's saying what. It'll be clear in a minute. Okay, I guess you have a point there. Oh yeah, so that's the man. John. I gave him the name John for now. But that won't be his name. So when you're writing, for people who are interested in writing tips and tricks and all that, sometimes we can get really stuck on things like, oh my God, what am I naming? Okay, I need to get a drink. I'm having some Canada Dry. Shh, don't tell anyone. People get caught up. There's all kinds of ways to procrastinate as a writer, like lots. There's tons, like I'm doing now. One of them is, oh my God, I don't have the perfect name for my character. And sometimes when I'm working on books, I know exactly who my characters are and what their names are. And then other times, like with this book, I keep changing around the characters' names as they come to me and stuff. And basically I have very basic names. And sometimes I actually keep the basic names like John or David or, you know, Mary and Susan and things like that. But sometimes, because for instance, in this page, literally, John is talking to a woman who I've now named Paige because she works in a bookstore. But she was Mary for the longest time, but now she's Paige. And her name will change again because Paige is too cute, right? Anyways, so that's kind of my point is don't get all caught up in naming your characters. You have many, many drafts to play with different names and stuff. If you're writing correctly, you'll be doing, you know, this is only... I don't even I consider like what I'm cleaning up. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening with my hair. What I'm cleaning up is more like that'll become like a first draft. This is not even a first draft. This is just a mess that I'm trying to pull into order because it was all dictated into the computer. 65,000 words of gobbledygook, most of which I can't use. So I'm just trying to clean it up. And this is the process of doing that, which writers may or may not find interesting. So that's what I'm doing here now. Okay, so, well, I guess you just have to pick your belief system. Maybe it's kind of like religion. But I'll tell you this, there's a lot in the universe we don't know, so why do we think we know? And since that character saying that is actually a witch who can, like, fly on her broomstick and stuff, it's kind of a ha-ha moment. And then John, who is this... tall, dark, and handsome, tall, dark, and groovy, or whatever. We don't know his deal, but we will find out later. He too is a occult, metaphysical creature of the night. Okay, so believe me, when you work in a bookstore like I do, there are many long, long days, and I think I've read almost every book in that store. And yes, they come and go, but when it comes to these types of information, such as UFOs, ghost hauntings, and that sort of thing, the cult, I read all that stuff quite voraciously. Okay, so that sentence doesn't even make any fucking sense whatsoever. We could see that. So, let's see. Believe me. So what's the point? So you think about what's the point of this conversation? Because every conversation in a story needs to move the plot forward. It needs to progress the scene. Every piece of dialogue moves the story. Every scene moves the story. Every section, every chapter, it all moves towards the plot, the climax, what's happening, what's the barrier, what's the goal, and so on, right? So with here, we're learning a little more about Paige, how she works in a bookstore. She reads about all kinds of stuff all day long, even though we already know, because this is like way into the book. We're like 100 pages into the book. So we already know she's a witch and doing shit. Okay. So it's just a matter of cleaning up this little ramble. So it's only like a little sentence instead of a big long prattle about God knows what. Believe me, when you work in a bookstore, and she doesn't have to say like I do, because that's where they met. So that's irrelevant. So believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days. Period. I think I've read almost every book in that store. I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to say here. This is just, it's a ridiculous, it doesn't even make sense. Okay, believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days. I think I've read almost every book in that store. No, maybe I have another draft to fix all this. But they were talking about UFOs like in the paragraph before, which I haven't fixed yet because I have to decide what I'm doing with this big, huge, long babble. I have to. They're talking about, and it's important, so I didn't want to do it live on Twitch, so I'm skipping over it. But the idea is that there's a wrinkle in the fabric of the universe kind of thing, and if you ever follow UFOs and stuff, or even if you watch Marvel movies, you know the well, think about, I worked on this book before I saw any of those Thor movies and stuff. I only watched all that stuff when I watched Loki, which was what, June or so, and I already written this book. But certainly the idea of, just to explain what I'm trying to get at with something most of you might know is, so when Thor and Loki come from Asgard and they come down, well, where's my hands? They come down that portal thing to Midgard, which is Earth, right? There's that portal or the pocket in time, or that, and you can only go at certain times, and or you miss it for another 100 years or whatever. So there, a lot of stories have this idea in it. In my book The Witch's Field, which I wrote back in like 1985 or something, I wrote that long ago. I think I wrote it before I even had children. And with that, there was a portal. I've explored the idea of portals between worlds or wrinkles in the fabric of the universe a lot in my work. It's one of kind of my staples because I enjoy those ideas. So for me, this is revisiting an idea, I know. And then in the previous paragraph, they're talking about tubes because during the pandemic, I've been doing way more deep diving into UFOs. But I already knew about these tube things before. They look like, I don't know, like pens or tubes, and people have caught them on camera flying through the air, and there's ideas that these are invisible spaceships, or they're tubes between worlds or portals, or we don't know if the tube itself is the creature or the person, or if it's a device for carrying people or persons, right? So like in real life, we don't know, and some people don't even know they exist or want to believe they exist. And as for me, I've seen so many crazy videos and stuff over, since I was a kid in the 70s, and I've always enjoyed exploring all this stuff. And I have no answers, and I've been studying this shit my whole life. So, oh, hey, hi, who's here now? I see you talking. Hi, Big Bad Fox. I'm doing great. How about you? I'm just trying to do some writing here today, and it's only second time I've tried to write on my stream, and I find it very nerve-wracking, but I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to a Big Bad Fox. Oh, I just finished your writing. Yay! day. Writing for the day, or did you actually manage to complete a project? For the day. Good, good. That's always a good feeling. Yeah, I'm just kind of tinkering with writing on Twitch because I am an editor, and so I figured using my editorial eye on my own shitty work that I dictated blah 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 into a microphone, which is all new to me. I dictated this book, and it's a disaster. I do not recommend. Well, I don't know. It depends how people like to write, but I'm not doing that again. It's wasting so much time going back and trying to even understand what the hell I'm talking about. Fantasy fiction. Ah, nice. Yeah. So this is like witches, and it's about witches and werewolves, really. But right now they're talking about space and UFOs because we'll find out later that the werewolf is building a portal, which that doesn't even make sense. I don't know. I do not know. Okay, I'm watching my phone because my mom's in the hospital and my dad's going to see her. They live about 2.5 hours from me, and we had big storms today. She fell and broke her hip, and so she had surgery yesterday, and now we're. Oh, thank you so much. So he's going to see her today. They're actually letting him in with COVID and stuff. So now he doesn't have COVID. But I'm saying, like, I was surprised they were able to operate on her and everything so fast in the middle of a pandemic. But here we are. So gotta love the Canadian healthcare system. Yeah, yeah, the restrictions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need an actual editor for your stuff. Well, I've edited over 1,000 books, so that's my day job. I used to work for a couple of companies, and then now I just do it freelance. Oh, sorry, I'm looking to see what's happening here. Okay, nothing. Sorry, I should just put it on the ring so I know the ring, but I don't have the ring. How much do I charge? It depends what kind of editing it is. It's around. I usually give quotes on like what I see and stuff, but ballpark, I'm in the middle of. I'm not the lowest. I'm not the highest, but around 4 cents a word for developmental editing, and around 2 cents a word for copy editing or line editing, and that's usually U.S. prices, U.S. cents, U.S. dollars, the U.S. dollar. Oh, good. Some people think I charge way too much. Other people think I charge way too little. So it's all subjective. And I completely understand that because I'm the same when I'm shopping around for when I need things, whether it's a cover artist or I really need to start getting cover artists. Oh, typing on the phone, eh? Yeah, okay. So let's see what we got. Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, great. Your person did 5 of your covers. Yeah, I have no shortage of knowing cover artists, but up until about a year ago, I just didn't have the money to pay for a real cover artist. But now, if it, like this book I'm working on, it depends where I sell it. I'm toying with the idea of something where I may need to make the cover myself, but I may just sell it to someone who'll make the cover because it'll be a publishing company and they can do with the damn covers. Yeah, it's because the books I self-published were all previously published traditionally, and then the publishers went out of business, like Leisure Books and Sam Hain and a couple of places like that. And so then I redid them and a couple of them I did covers, and they're not nice. They're not nice. But like I said, I didn't really have the bucks when I was putting them out. But that's what Patreon's for, you know? Yes, and I've saved up enough of my Patreon that if I do another self published project, I can pay properly for things. But like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing with this book. Well, I have some ideas of what I'm doing with this book, and I don't think any of them include me having to buy a cover, I hope. I hope. But times keep a changing, you know? I'm in that 50, was it 20 books to 50K Facebook group or whatever, and people are posting their end of the year results, and some people are making $1 million. It's like, holy shit, I gotta like stop sleeping and get on with life. I feel like I've been like living backwards or something. I don't know. And that's self-publishing these people are doing. And I've been in that group for many years following their like I don't personally follow their formulas because I am just not that prolific. These people are cranking out full books, like 100,000 words a month kind of thing, and I can't do that. I'm still tinkering on this one thing. 65,000 words. I blasted into the computer last spring, and I'm still trying to get it out. I'm still not even on the first draft because, like I said, this isn't even a first draft. This is just whatever. I don't think you can post in here to see your covers. I don't know. I don't know how I don't think you can. I mean, you can email me. Yeah, day jobs. Yeah, we all got the day jobs, don't we? Yeah, yeah, and a lot of these people have quit their day jobs because they're making $1 million. But they spend a lot on advertising too, and I worry about taking that gamble. Like some of them spend, like when you really look at, because they post all their information, and yeah, some of them spend 10 or 20 grand a year for their ads, which is how they're making nearly $1 million. I don't know if I have those kinds of balls you know, to spend that kind of money. But that's what publishing houses are for. Oh, I'm freezing. Yeah. Sorry, I mean freezing as in I noticed my little square was churning. And I know people in Toronto, well, because we're having big storms today, and I'm in Toronto. Um, so actually, it was funny. I was watching Queen Pin last night. Is that what it was called? Yeah, Queenpin. It was a comedy with Kristen Bell and some others, and it's about these two housewives. It reminded me a lot of that series Good Girls, which I really liked till it jumped the shark season 2. So it reminded me of no. So Queen Pin was about these two housewives collecting coupons and yeah, just being idiots. Now I forget why I was even okay. Back to it. This is why nothing gets done. I guess I can't focus long enough to do anything. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So they were doing something on the computer, and the computer froze, and it was Kristen Bell on the computer. And the computer froze, and the other character goes, "Oh, Frozen," and I was like, "Yeah, there you go." For those that don't know, Kristen Bell's in Frozen, even though I've never seen Frozen to this day. Yeah, cuz the thing is how you can try it, but I'm looking at this like you can see where I'm pointing. You can't even see my hands. You can try it, but I'm not sure how I have it set up. Cuz I set up my chat like 5 years ago, so I don't even know. Try see if you can post a link. I have no idea if it's possible. So I think I may have taken that out back when I used to do. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you did post a link. Let me see what happens. Oh, cool. That's nice. That's very nice. Lone Wolf and the Caster's Shadow. I don't, is it showing up for you guys? I don't know. Let me see. See how my, oh my God, am I doing technology? Am I am I successfully navigating technology? Is it happening? Let's see. There. So all the folks at home can see it. There. That's really nice. That's very nice. Yeah, that's a nice cover. So yeah, you can well, now that I have this too, I can look up who did it. Okay, so how do I so I want to save it. Okay, if I just click it down, then it'll save for later when I can look at it when I'm offline and go check that out. All five for $100. Wow. Okay. Now, if I could get a cover artist for that, yes. I did have a cover artist do my cover for A Penny Saved. I had her recreate the original cover that had been on the Sam Hain books. We found all the graphics, and she did that for about $100. So that was nice. And she did Gilda and the Prince. My cover for that, she did that one. Again, it was about $50, and yeah, I think those are the only two I hired someone for, and I wanted her to do some more. He's a friend of yours. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the woman who did those two covers I just talked about, she was a friend too, so it was a cheaper rate than she probably. Oh my God, my can is green screened. Sorry. Sorry, I'm distracted again. Yeah, that's great. So it was a friend of yours, you said. There are lots of online artists do pretty good. Many are based overseas. Yeah, I know, and I know in Fiverr and stuff, there are lots of people. It's just finding them, really, isn't it? Because in the horror community, I know several professional cover artists who are friends of mine, but I wouldn't want to insult them by offering them, $100 when I know they do actual original like paintings and they'll go and take actual photographs and just for your book kind of thing. And so which is different than what I paid for and what you probably paid for of people manipulating graphics that already exist. So there's so many different ways to do covers and cover artists, but we all face it. Covers are the most important thing. Even though none of us want to pay for that. Well, every aspect of the, editing's the most important. Covers are the most important. The story's the most important. The characters the most. It's all important, really, when you get right down to it. When you're trying to. Sell a product, people want to visually be engaged with the beautiful covers, and then they want to read the back of the book to be sucked in by the good copywriting, and then on it goes, right? Yeah, writing the book could be important too, just a little, just a little. But no one will read the book if they don't get sucked into even wanting to read the book, right? And I teach creative writing at George Brown College, well, novel writing at George Brown College here in Toronto. And yeah, we talk about writing, and I try to teach them, a big part of my course is just sucking people in. It's getting that. Yeah, I said so many people, I said it's kind of different now because we're not in bookstores pulling the book down, reading the back, and then flipping to the first paragraph. But people will do that on the look inside. And so we spend a lot of time just working on those first sentence or two or that first paragraph to just suck those people in so they want to keep reading more, you know. That's what whiskey is for. Yeah, whiskey. Bourbon, whiskey, it's all, yeah. So, yeah, the launch parties. Ah, will we ever have launch parties again? I wonder. Scotch is good too. Oh, draft prologues. Yeah. Yeah, well, as we see here, this draft is shitty. But I am making it better. That's the fun of editing. That's why I like editing too, because I do like making shitty things good. And not to imply that everything I read is shitty. It's not. But even the most brilliant writing can always use some work. Okay, let's see what I got here. All right, so believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days. And you can see when you read your work out loud, it's different than when you're just staring at the words. And it's very different when you're reading your own work live on Twitch to people that you don't even know who are watching. You know, that's the scariest part of all. Jameson, yes, Jameson, the writer's tears. No, writer's tears isn't Jameson, but yeah, I think we're all buddies with Jameson and the bourbons and the whiskeys and the scotches and the Jim Beams and the Glenfiddicks and writers know them all. We all know what we're doing. Oh, clicking around here. After you write. Use a program that reads it to you. Yeah. And then when I'm working on screenplays, that's a big part of what I've been doing the last couple of years, which is why my novel writing output has been very small. Because I've written a few screenplays, and it when I use Final Draft, they actually have a button you can click and the computer reads you the things. And I know, like, you can see I'm using Word here, and they have a function on there too where it'll read it back to you. Oh, was that a... No, it wasn't a phone call. All right. No, my parents, my dad's visiting my mom in the hospital, so I'm just keeping an eye on that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I have the, I'm looking, oh, I can't even see it on there. Mailings, references. They do have it. There's somewhere you click a microphone or something. I never ever use it on Word, and I know you can do it with just the computer too. Can read it back to you. Um, yeah, oh, I don't use Open Office. I use Word. I do Office 365. I pay the monthly fee or whatever for it, so that I have all the bells and whistles, and it populates across all my devices, whether it's on my phone. Not that I go anywhere for 2 years, but before the pandemic, you could be on the subway and, oh, maybe I'll work on my book, or whatever, because it populates out to everything. I used to use the Open Office free program long ago, but now I've been spoiled with the with the wonderment of things going across all the devices. But again, it's kind of a moot when you don't leave your apartment for 2 years because there's a pandemic. But I'm a PC. So that's why Final Draft can be difficult too, because it's made for a Mac. So a lot of the toys people have on the Mac, people on the PC didn't get. And I've only had Final Draft for about 2 years. So I got it, and I used it for about a year, and then they had the upgrade to 12. So then I upgraded to 12. And so apparently on Final Draft, which is a program for screenwriting, If you are a Mac user or an iPhone user, then that'll magically populate to everything. But if you're a PC user and a Samsung user, it does not. So I'm bummed. Yeah, Dropbox. Yeah. Yeah, I have Dropbox and the is it Dropbox that Office 365 uses? It's some sort of Dropbox with that too. So, yeah, and then I have the Google Drive thing. I have the paid prescription. Oh my God, the paid subscription for Google Drive. So, because I've had too much bullshit in my life, I've lost so much work. I had a huge computer issue for a couple of years around just around the pandemic time, and I've lost so much work. So now I have kind of a couple of things that automatically do the things. Because even if you're saving it, if your hard drive gets corrupted, you're fucked, right? So, you know, yeah, yep. OneDrive, Google Drive, all the things. Yep, yep. Google Drive. Yep. Yeah, and even then, because in the old day, I have a bunch of floppy disks. I used to try and do that, save into a floppy, but now I have boxes of floppies. How can I read any of them? I actually do have an external thing I can plug in, but who wants to look through? I don't even know if the floppy drives work on any programs, right? So, yeah, yeah, I do. It does do the OneDrive thing. Yeah, I know. And then it's like, but I have the Google Drive because of all the photos that automatically upload from my phone. And then it's, but I'm afraid to cancel anything in case I lose things I didn't know I was saving, because you get, oh, my tentacles are all over. I don't know what's happening with anything anymore. It's just like, ah. I have encrypted. You have a EBOT encrypted chess piece. Oh, a mini hard drive. Yeah. Auto saving. Yep, yep, yep. And then Word changed the way they do things a bit too. I think in the last year or so. Because it used to be when you'd open a Word document, like what's happening here on my page, you would just click save and it would automatically save and it would know to automatically save. But now they have it that you have to save it to the OneDrive, and you have to remember to do that specifically. Whereas in the old way, it would just automatically save. So you have to remember because it will ask you, you might write like 50 words or something that'll say, do you want to save that or whatever? It's like, holy shit, I haven't set up the autosave. But at least with Final Draft, I have that one I have super saved where it populates to a hard drive that isn't the main hard. I have 3 hard drives now because after my last computer fiasco, I built a computer last year during my spare time. Yeah, I learned how to build a computer. So now I have 3 different hard drives, and so things will save to one hard drive, but they'll save to the other hard drive, and then go. You can't see my hands. I'm waving around. It goes up to the magical place in the sky, the cloud. Autosave on OneDrive has saved more than one writer's bacon. We're taking some time to consolidate on one cloud. 2 PCs, 3 laptops, a tablet, and 11 phones. 11 phones? Autosave, having the initial documents saved to OneDrive, and still lose too many. Yeah, I know. Then you have too many things saved, and which version is it? And and you lose your mind doing all that too. Oh, I know, I know. Thank you. Yeah, I was looking, it was just before the shortage or the shortage was coming or whatever. It was last, like a year ago, August, September-ish. Um, and I was just going to buy a computer. And then one of my sons was like, Mom, just build one. You know, it'll be cheaper in the. And I'm not sure if it was cheaper or whatever, but I built a really good gaming computer because I wanted to learn how to play games and have this channel, you know. So yeah, so it's a really good gaming computer, and of course, writing, we can write anywhere, right? So yeah, and then the shortage came. I'm like, holy shit, I should sell all these parts I just bought for like 5 times as much as now my graphics card's going for 3 grand or whatever. It's like, holy shit, I can buy like 3 computers with that, you know? Yeah, the right version. So, because I now, and one thing I learned as an editor too, like 15 years ago, is every time I open a file, I put the date on it. And that can sometimes help, but sometimes it can still be confusing. If you opened the wrong one, you start working away, and now you're constantly working on the wrong file. So now, like with this piece, I don't know if you can see. I just, yeah, it says at the top, sample for Twitch. So I just took a little bit out of the major book in case anything happens. And then, so that's the little piece I'm working on here on Twitch. What, I wrote a whole paragraph since I signed on. Not even. I did two lines of dialogue. 2 lines of dialogue I've done. Yeah, yeah. And that's what I teach. That's what I teach in my class too. Just every time you open that damn file, label it and make a new one. Like just put the, 01/02/2021 on it. And then no matter what happens, you got that thing happening. And so even if you have a master file and then you can do today's file, then you'll have different versions, but at least if anything gets corrupted, you still have the old versions and so on. Um, oh, you're a custom PC building. I bet. I see. I see those prices, and I just can't believe how much it costs. It's, I bet your clients are going crazy. They're like, they're like, oh my God, what, 5 grand just for a graphics card? What's the computer gonna cost? Yeah, so much, so much. I know. Oh, I hope things go down. Oh, what's happening on my phone? Okay, it's not my parents. Oh, hang on, my brother. What does he have to say about all this? Okay, he's just asking. No, I have not heard anything, but I'm sure I will any minute. Okay, so what? What? Hang on, hang on. I gotta walk over to the TV to see. How many zeros was on that? Big Bad Fox, are you saying your graphics card costs 7,500? Is that what you're saying? Really? I think the whole cost of my computer was just a little over a grand. I got at the time, because it was a year ago, it was almost state of the art graphics card, and it was like $700 or something. And yeah, I've seen it for over 3 grand now. And like I said, I keep toying with the idea of, But the problem is that on my old computer, that's why my old computer blew up, was the graphics card. Everything just blew up and melted. And yeah. And any of you who used to try and see me Twitch back then, like it was always corrupted. The Between the internet and my computer, just could not deal with anything back then. So, but I knew I wanted to be twitching, and I knew I wanted to be gaming, and so I had to get that really good graphic card, which I can't remember what it is now. But it's good. Like I said, it's going for a lot right now. Wow. It's crazy, crazy times. Crazy times. All right, let me see if I can write another sentence or two before the phone rings. But no, I want to know, is that 7,500 for a graphics card or for the computer? Or is that a dot mistake? A decimal point situation. How's my new mic working? Is it okay? I had to send back my other. I haven't sent it. It's right here. See? From one Yeti to another. It kept cutting out. And so the Yeti people were so nice. Oh my God. If you ever have a situation with your Yeti mic or your Blue, anything, just go to their website and speak to their robot. And they, because I bought this, I bought my Yeti, I think in July, and it's never really worked properly. Yeah, and they said it just came. I just plugged it in right now. It's excellent. The Yeti mic or a graphics card that was $8,000. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I saved up for like 3 years to get this Yeti mic, so when it wasn't working properly, I was pretty pissed. But I really need to. Oh, good, good. I'm glad it's working perfectly. When I go back and watch this, I'll tinker with all the knobs. I haven't really ever done that, but I just put it on the setting I had my old one on. But I'm gonna see now that I have one that works. I believe it doesn't seem to be cutting out at all so far. Then I'll learn how to do even better. And I have this really nice boom I bought 3 weeks ago for it. And I realized I had it set up backwards until I put the new mic on. Because that's how I roll. $20 off Amazon. Yeah, they never, the Yeti mics don't really go on very good sales. I was watching for like years for a good sale. $20 is about the best you're gonna get. I think that's what I think mine was $20 off at Staples. I kept watching Best Buy, Staples, Canada Computers, Amazon. I'm just doing the circle for years, and then finally, just okay, it's never going below this price. I just gotta buy it. Well, I have my $20 coupon. But like I said, that if there's anything wrong with it, keep your receipt. They'll help you out. I didn't, I went right to the Blue people. I didn't go to Staples. Well, I did go to Staples, but they said, I have to go to the Blue people because it'd been more than a month. And it was. And they did. And they sent it by Federal Express. And here we are. Okay, so believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days. I think I've read almost every book in that store. Ghosts, UFOs. Oh, I can't. I have to be typing over here. Okay, UFOs. Oh, hitting my Yeti mic with my head because I swung it over too far. I bet it's picking up all the clicking too, because I have to figure out how to do all the things. All the things. So in here, she doesn't have to say I read all that stuff voraciously because she's talking about how she reads. So that's just more information and bullshit we don't need to talk about in that sentence. You got lucky with your video card. Wow. That's great. That's a really good price. Yeah. $550 is really good. Okay, believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days. I think I've read almost every book in that store. Okay, so this sentence doesn't make sense because I took out a lot of the sentence. So, when working, there are many long days with nothing to do. How's that? Or no customers, or I'm gonna flag that because I don't really want it to say nothing to do, but I want to add a little bit of something in there. But I'll come back to that in another draft. But now that was a super mega long babble about bullshit, and now it's down to a couple of little sentences that will move the story forward because now she's explaining how she reads about UFOs and ghosts and all that shit. And we don't have all that other blah, blah, blah. New power supply, the one I had sparks out. Oh boy, you don't want sparky power supplies. Yeah, that was one thing when I was building the computer, I was following several, builds, examples. I went on the deep dive for about a month before I actually bought anything for it. Because I knew nothing about computers or building. I know nothing. I just thought, hey, we're in a pandemic. I got nothing to do. I'll teach myself to build a computer. But one of my son's friends is a computer dude. Like he builds computer. I think he builds. I don't know if he builds, but he went to school for computers. So he was the one that recommended a couple of the websites to go look at what kind of builds I might be interested in. I knew I wanted more gaming than other stuff, and I knew I wanted it to be really good on Twitch and have all those really good video and graphics and streaming and all those exciting things. So that's kind of how. So then, yeah, then I'm like, power supplies. Do I want like a really big power supply, little one, and so the one I got was the one that's recommended with all the things I did. But yeah, it's, to me, it was very scary. I was worried about plugging my computer and it'll blow up. But I did everything by myself. But then when I went to plug it in, it didn't turn on all the way. It was, some things seemed to work, some didn't. And then, so I had my friend's buddy come over, and this was before there were vaccinations. So it was a big deal. I think it was the first time my son had come over in like a year, and then his buddy too. And so they came in, and he said, yeah, everything was perfect. I just hadn't clicked the one thing tight hard enough, the one plug that set, was connected to everything. He just like punched it in a little harder, and boom, it all worked. But I had been afraid to shove it in harder because I thought I was going to break everything. So I almost perfectly did it myself. I was just a little afraid to push that one thing in a little harder. 1050-watt power supply. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what I have. Mine isn't that high. I think mine's slightly lower. But then I wonder sometimes if it should be higher. But like I said, it seemed to, what I bought seemed to go with what I was supposed to do. And it's a year later. I don't have a clue what any of that's about anymore. All right. So believe me, when you work in a bookstore, there are many long days with nothing to do. I think I've read almost every book in that store. UFOs, ghosts, hauntings, and the occult. I, whoops, clicking the wrong page. I understand the construction you're discussing. What the fuck am I saying there? And I agree with you, it can get confusing and overwhelming when you see something odd, you don't know which hole to slot it in. What the hell? See, this is what happens when you're talking to a program and it just decides what you're saying, but you don't know what the fuck you're saying. Yeah, peak over power protection. The more you plug into the PC, the power supply has to work harder. Yeah, that's what I figured. Um, so, and I wasn't adverse to getting like the best power supply ever. But then they said I can't have too big of one either because then I have other problems. So, yeah, it's a fine balance with the computers and the wirings and not melting your tower and all that stuff. Okay, so I have no idea what this sentence is about. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. I understand totally. No. This is, take out all that shit. It can get confusing and overwhelming when you're talking about computers. No. When you see something odd and you don't know which hole it's slotted in. Okay. That's more what I was trying to say there. Hardcore streamer and gamer. So you have the, yeah, you have a lot of things plugged in. Yeah. You don't, last thing you need is, you add one more little thing to your computer and it all blows up because your power supply wasn't enough. I get that. I totally, like I said, I made sure I got higher as opposed to lower when I was buying the power supply, Dicky Doo. Yeah. That's what I figured you meant. Yeah. Keep plugging it in. Oh, now I'm plugging in my phone. Ah, it all blew up. Okay, so this person says that's for sure. Move that period. Fix that quotation mark. Now what's this? It looked out some more. Then he said, sometimes when I sit here, I do think I see strange things. And then I figure in this age of technology, there are so many simple explanations for so many simple things. Okay. They're sitting and looking out a window. That's what's happening here. They stared out at the cityscape some more. And I'm going to add something to that relating to something before, but I'll do that in another draft. Sometimes when I sit here, it's not, I do think I see, no, I see strange things, like fuck off. Okay, so I don't know what I'm thinking when I'm babbling into a microphone. It's embarrassing. All right, sometimes when I sit here, I see strange things. And then I figure and say, there's so very many simple explanations. Okay, that's garbage. How about, but in this age of technology, there are many simple. See how I'm getting rid of a lot of extra words? That's your goal when you're editing from your Babel draft to a draft that people need to understand what the hell you're trying to say. That's the aim, is to make it make sense in as few possible words as possible. I know some people get really sad when you're writing and writing is, oh, I wrote this beautiful flowery sentence, but the sentence may not fit. And you can't, I know a lot of writers have files where they have all these favorite sentences or passages, and they realize you can't use them in this book because it's too much. That's whatever. It's not moving the story forward. So they actually have files and they pull them out for other work and stuff. I don't do that, but for me, it's like if it does, you could see I just am erasing. I'm not saving. There's too much. And I've written so many books that I don't, it doesn't bother me anymore. Every time I write something, I know it may get erased. So it's confusing and overwhelming. Okay. They stared out at the, yeah. So that line, oops, I have to get over here. That line too needs more oomph. But I'm just marking it. So then when I come back, because they're going to do, they just had sex. They're getting to know each other. They're drinking champagne. They're talking about UFOs. They just saw something crazy out the window. So there needs to be more than they stared out at the sky in that spot, but I'm not doing it now. Okay. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing again. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes when I sit here, I see strange things. But in this age of technology, there are many simple explanations for so many simple things. I don't really like that, but we'll move on. What are you getting at? Oh my God, there's another big babble of bullshit, which I'm not going to deal with now. He put his glass down and turned to look at Paige. I saw you. Oh, that's right. He saw her flying. Dun, dun, dun. Now he's going to admit he saw her flying on her broomstick. He knows she's a witch. Now she'll have to kill him. No, she doesn't. She doesn't have to kill him. What do you mean you saw me? She asked. I saw you fly. And it was creepy as hell. Saw you fly. She's deflecting and lying. Fly. Ha ha. She laughed. How would I fly? So this is so this is kind of pivotal because in the story, because this is the first time where Paige learns that John, who's not John, has something on her. She, up until this moment where he said he saw her fly, she just thought he was a guy who came into the bookstore and flirted with her, and they eventually went out for dinner. Then they eventually went back to his place. He turns out to be a multimillionaire. They have sex in the nice bedroom, and then now he's admitting that he knows more about her than she thought he did. And she'll come to learn there's more about him than she thought too. That's the fun, isn't it, of these witchy fantasy occult books. Anything can happen. On your broomstick, of course, little witch. Ooh. Them's fighting words. On my on my broomstick. She giggled. And then so when I say period, it's supposed to actually put a period when you say period when you're dictating, but you can see it just writes out the word period for no reason whatsoever, which is also makes it fun to read back. Sometimes, these voice to text things are pretty hilarious, and sometimes they're not. This isn't a hilarious one. It's an annoying one because I have to take out all these periods. Okay, on my broomstick, she giggled. Now, tell me, when might this have been? Now I see where it says new light. That's supposed to be new line. But I must have been slurring or something. back in April when I wrote this. Whoops, what did I just do? Oh. Home. Okay. I just clicked something. Oh, okay. I see. All right. Just making sure I didn't wipe out an entire paragraph. I've been known to do that too. But as we saw, sometimes we don't need those paragraphs. He put his glass down, turned my right. I saw you. What do you mean you saw me? Whoops, I have to get my mouse back over to the proper place. Over here. I saw you fly. Fly, she laughed. How would I fly? On your broomstick, of course, little witch. On my broomstick. Now tell me when. That. Okay, people don't talk like that. People don't say, now tell me when might this have been. Who says that? Nobody. Nobody says that shit. On my broomstick, she giggled. Now tell me when. Like, when was this? This is probably what a normal person would say, not some stupid. Now tell me when might that have been. On my broomstick. Two nights ago. Shakespeare's dialogue would have been weirdly different if he had had voice to text. Oh, that's for sure. Although he did have theatre people changing his words every minute, but almost the same. I mean, who knows who was writing that stuff down for him, right? Just a different dictaphone, that's all. But yeah, thou, and thou, thou art thou in the bushes, Romeo. This is a different Romeo. It's the witch and the werewolf. All right. 2 nights ago. Now tell me. Oh, so now tell me. I'll probably change that in another pass. Okay. 2 nights ago, and it wasn't the first time. And get rid of that period and put in a real one. Oh, but you see, even I forget what the story is. Okay, 2 nights ago, and it wasn't the first time, but it was the most recent time. Period. I was just sitting here drinking my wine, and you whipped. I couldn't decide if I wanted to say whipped or whizzed. And he certainly doesn't say, I saw you clear as a bell. He said, I saw you clear as a bell. It was you, my darling. All right, so this convoluted bunch of stuff we got to fix up. 2 nights ago, and it wasn't the first time, but it was the most recent time. I was just sitting here drinking my wine, and you whipped right by my window. I saw you clear as a bell. It was you, my darling. Okay, that makes more sense. I was just sitting here drinking my wine and saw you. Do I want to say whip, whizzed, flew, darted? I was just sitting here drinking my wine and you. Do people still say you whipped right by my window? Does anyone even know what that means anymore? Is this an old term? I might have to use a thesaurus for that. Oh, you like whip whizzed? I know. We're just whip whizzing all over the world. Whip whizzing is where it's at. Let's see. I have to keep taking my glasses on and off because I have the 2 screens, and the glasses are for the computer, but not for the distance, but not for the close. I need 3 or 4 pairs of glasses. But I had laser eye surgery, so I can drive just fine without any glasses at all. All right. Cinnamons. Beat, whisked, creamed, beaten, flogged. I creamed right past your window. I know it's for creaming butter, beaten butter, flogging butter, whisking butter, beating butter. Well, I'm not going to lose. See, this is where writers can get really into big, long procrastination times. See, if I was working without prattling on Twitch, this would have taken me like 5 minutes. But it's taken me an hour and a half because I am talking to all of you, which is so much fun. And I'm so glad people are talking to me today. It's a lot of fun. Kiss flew. Yeah. Well, the idea is he's sitting on his couch and he's on, like, I don't remember what floor, like the 65th floor of some fancy ass condo downtown. And she flies, we're in Toronto, this book's in Toronto. And so one of those big skyscrapers, because she had gone flying a couple days before with one of her friends. They fly all the time, and they usually fly up to the CN Tower, which is like 100 and I think it's 144 stories high. I can't remember now. I used to work at the top, and I used to know all the stats, but I don't remember any of that stuff anymore. But so he would have seen her fly by. So I don't know if she whipped, but because I was thinking in terms of in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy's on the bed and the tornado's doing the tornado, and she's on the bed, then she sees the Wicked Witch do 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 in the tornado whipping by. That's kind of where my mind was visualizing it. Not that he's in a tornado or anything like that's happening, but that was why I used the word whipped, I think. But I'm not sure whipped makes sense to people, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Sword. World's highest disco. Yes, I worked at Sparkles, the world's highest disco. The disco in the sky. Yes, I did. I worked mostly in the daytime, but I did work a few nights, but it was so loud, it's hard to work, even though you'd make way more money working nights. But I like dealing with the tourists and people, oh my God, it's a sand tower. And, but, people would barf at their tables because they'd get sick looking out the windows. a lot of puke cleanup there, but luckily I didn't have to do it. We had someone for that. The special CN Tower puke cleaner. Yeah, Sword. Actually, Sword is good. I like Sword. Let's I'll put that in as a placeholder. Thank you. And when I come back, I'll see when I come back in 2 months for another draft. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that little hint there. Yeah, the world's highest disco. And then I worked at the Hard Rock Cafe after that at the Sky Dome, which was beneath. You still can't see my hands beneath the CN Tower. I keep forgetting I made my square so small you can't. And I talk with my hands a lot, so you're missing half the action when I have my square so small. But we're not here to do sign language. Oh, someone's messaging me on Facebook, but you can't see that, I don't think, so it's okay. Yeah. Before I do this, I was thinking, since we're talking about Sparkles, the world's highest disco and all of that, back when I worked there, I had some friends. I was married, actually, but we had to work a double, or I think we were working all day. And then we had to go back that night for a special private party. Because I remember we were working a double. And there were three or four of us that were on that ungodly shift of working, I think like 9 to 7, and then we had to come back like at 9, or I can't really remember how it all went down. But anyways, there were a couple of us that used to hang out, and back in those days, we were bad. You could go into the stairwell because Pete, don't forget, back in those days, people smoked everywhere, and so you'd have the smoking and non-smoking sections in the bar, but you know, in hindsight, in 2022 perspective, it's like it doesn't matter. If smoke travels, it doesn't stop. Just like COVID, it travels, it doesn't stop. Just because there's no ashtray at that table. But anyways, but on your break, you'd go into the stairwell and have a smoke or whatever. Because there were no designated smoking areas for staff and stuff. And so you just go and hide. And also, a lot of us were stoners, so we'd just go. Back then, hash was more the thing than pot, and hash doesn't really have a smell. So you'd get your little pipe out, shove some tobacco in so it smells like you're smoking a cigarette, and you'd just get high in the world's highest freestanding high structure, high. And anyways, so that was always made work much more fun. But anyways, so we had this one deadly shift, and so we went to this guy's house because he lived on Church Street, and he had an apartment. And so I think four of us went there because that night we were all pissed off. We had to go back and work because it was the premiere night of The Golden Girls. And we were all so excited to watch The Golden Girls because we all loved, Betty White and Rue McClanahan and B. Arthur. And what's the show going to be? How is it going to be? What's it all about? We were so excited. So we went to this guy's house and we watched the premiere of it. And I was thinking about that, because Betty White died the other day. So I was thinking about how we did that and how everyone was such a huge fan of the Golden Girls and how we had to take a friggin' $50 cab from the CN Tower back in like 1981 or whatever it was, and go to Pra's house, and he made us lentils and curries and all his delicious foods because he liked to cook. And we only had like an hour break, but it was just at the time when Golden Girls was premiering. So we had to watch Golden Girls, and then we ate our lentils really fast, and then we hopped in the cab and went back to work. And so I was just remembering that memory. Yeah. Betty White, yeah. But yeah, I've been wanting to tell that story, but I just wasn't sure how to tell it or who to tell it to. So now you all know. But yeah, I used to watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show and all that. Long before Golden Girls, because I'm old. I watched her and everything, and yeah, so that was a fun Betty White Golden Girls. So when people nowadays go on about Golden Girls or how much they love it, and I totally get it because we did that to watch the premiere and we didn't even know if it'd be any good. We just knew we loved all those actresses and it's going to be one hell of a show. And it was. I watched every episode every week. All right, back to flying on a broomstick. All right. I saw you clear as a bell. Oh, clear. Betty White. It's sad she died, but like I said to someone the other day, like everyone's acting like it's the apocalypse because she died, and it's like she's friggin' 100 years old. She's not immortal. Like, she was gonna die. It's not the apocalypse. She's hanging out with Carrie Fisher and all the others. Carrie Fisher died, the 27th, December 27th. And anyways, she died right at the end of the year too, 5 years ago. And yeah, they're all partying. I never met Betty White or any of them. Oh yeah, yeah. She definitely had a good life. I mean, I'm sure there's horrific bullshit that'll come out because of the times she lived through. It was really rough for women in Hollywood. Still is, as we know. So I'm sure to stay in the trenches for like friggin' 75 years or however long she's been in Hollywood, I'm sure she had a lot of stories that she probably didn't want to tell. I'm not saying she did the casting couch herself, but she must have known so many people with horrific stories and secrets from those times. But she did have a good ride, and it was fun. I watched a little bit of the Saturday Night Live last night. And it was fun to say, oh, I'm 88 and a half years old. I'm like, who knew you would live another 10 years? And I do remember, Facebook and how she came back to life. People rediscovered her or whatever, all that. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's nice to see someone from old school Hollywood, old school TV shows to really have a second coming as she did these last 10 years or so. And I loved, what was that show she was on? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Valerie Bertinelli. I still remember this episode when they're doing Spanx, trying to put on Spanx. Oh my God. Valerie Bertinelli. I don't think Betty White was putting them on, but I think she was just making droll observations about how ridiculous she was. But yeah, that was a good show too. All right, 2 nights ago, and it wasn't the first time, but it was the most recent time. I was just sitting here drinking my wine, and you soared right by my window. I saw you clear as a bell. It was you, my darling. Oh, drinking lots of wine, I see. So basically, this guy, this John dude, which isn't going to be his name. Oh, Snickers. Yes, yes, the Snickers commercials. Yeah. She's so funny. It's the deadpan, like the Sue Ann Nivens, and just the deadpan and saying the most outrageous shit. She was so droll. And for the longest time, I wasn't sure I really liked how they cast her for Golden Girls. Because when the show first came out, as I said, that opening day we watched it, I really thought she should have been the Rue McClanahan character because of her legacy of being Sue Ann Nivens on the Mary Tyler Moore show, right? So I thought, why would they make her an idiot, and why does Rue McClanahan get to be the sexy babe, the Delta Burke or whatever? Every show at that time, Designing Women, all that, they all had that same kind of core comedy, 3 or 4 women, and they all had their, the smart one, the funny one, the womanizer, the idiot, whatever. And so I did feel for a long time that I wanted her to be the Rue McClanahan character, but she was great as the idiot with her Saint Olaf stories and oh, just thinking about it. It's again just that naive innocence delivery. So it wasn't the droll, dry, snotty asshole like Sue Ann Nivens, but it was the naive but still an asshole. Can hear her voice in my head right now. It's too funny. So, okay, people don't say what is your secret. They say what's your secret. And we have too many so's. See, when I do my drafts, I put so's and when's and what. We all do. And so that's what editing's all about. It's plucking out those things that there's too many of. If you have a sentence of 20 words, make it 10. That's the rule of thumb. Okay, drinking a lot of wine, I see. What's your secret? How did you do it? Lemma which she asked. What? Lemma which she laughed there, so you say. What? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Lemma which she laughed there, so you say. Okay, will teach me the spell. What is the spell to ride a broomstick? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I wonder if she played a femme fatale earlier in her career. I bet she did. She's in like a shit ton of stuff way back. You've seen the early pictures of her. She was so hot, right? So, I mean, she was always a beautiful woman all the way through. So I bet at some point they all did. You know, Lucy, all of them, they all had that role at some point. But it was interesting how she went to TV, like Lucille Ball did too. I watched that Ricardo's movie the other day as well. I was a big fan of Lucy and all that as well. I wonder if they're going to do a Betty White story and who would play her. I wonder who would play her. I can't even think of who. Anna Faris? No, she's too old or doesn't quite have the same face. But yeah, it's hard to think of who she. But then again, no one would think of Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball either. So, and I still don't. So there. I mean, Nicole Kidman did a fine job. It was okay, but I think even though I don't really like Deborah Messing, I think she would have pulled it off better. Good rule of thumb. Reading Raymond Chandler now. Very concise but descriptive dialogue. Yeah, that's the rule of thumb. Yeah. Something I learned in creative writing class, and then what I impart to my students or anyone who wants to hear a babble, is when you're first writing a book, that first draft, just write. Just write. Don't second guess. Don't edit in your head unless you have a crazy deadline and you know what you're doing. Otherwise, just puke it all out. And then a good rule of thumb, especially for new writers or beginner, I don't know if you say beginner writers, but new writers or people just learning how to navigate the craft of a novel, it's usually a good rule of thumb to throw out the first 10 or 15 or even 30 pages, because a lot of that's just kind of warming up, finding out where you're going, what's my story, it's like practicing scales. I play the violin, practicing scales before you practice a piece of music or whatever. So yeah, but especially when you're new, or you've only written a couple of books or stories, just write everything, because you can see you got to go back. There's no getting out of going back. And editing can be a lot of fun if you don't get too close to your work. It's best to just puke it all out, put it away. Like I said, I wrote this back in April. Now I'm looking at it going, holy shit, what the hell is this mess? But in my case, it's a mess because I was doing the dictaphone thing, which I'm not used to doing. My first drafts are usually not this disgustingly horrific. But for everyone, you throw half of it out. Just toss it in the air, pull out 50 pages, chuck them in the garbage. You don't need those. And yeah, Raymond Chandler's a good thumbprint for everyone, for sure. Well, I have no idea what I'm saying there. What's your secret? How do you do it? Lemma. What the fuck is, I don't, that's, no, okay. Lemma might be never mind. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. She has to say something like, I can't tell you. She's gonna have to say it in a different way, but I'll just say it like this for now. I can't tell you. That's what other drafts are for. But at least I got rid of that lemma or whatever the hell I was saying. I can't tell you. Teach me. So I have all that blah, blah, blah. Teach me how to ride a broom. Please, please, please. Nope. Now it's just teach me. So do we need to say Paige saw? In a way we do, because um sorry, just making sure I'm answering your questions while I'm talking. Yes. So what was I just gonna say? So usually if you're describing someone, you wouldn't say, she saw his mouth smiling or whatever. But in this case, it's a moment that turns from they're lovers, they're hanging out, they're shooting the shit. Suddenly, the worm has turned. Suddenly, she realizes he has seen her flying on a broomstick, which is not common knowledge. Because this is like modern day Toronto where witches don't fly on broomsticks and stuff. So this is a secret, and he's discovered her secret side. And now she's wondering how much more of her secret side he knows. And maybe he's not who she thinks he is, but she's not really sure who she thinks he is because he's just a random dude who comes into the bookstore. Suddenly they're in this beautiful $1 billion penthouse in the sky. And now she realizes he knows things about her and he's probably not who she thinks he is. So this is why it's important that she notices his mouth is smiling, but it has not reached his eyes. Like he's playing with her now. So we're trying to impart the idea that he's playing with her. He's trying to entice the secret to broom riding or flying a broomstick from her, and perhaps he wants to know even more. So that's why that's important, that she sees his mouth smiling, but how his demeanor has shifted. So I don't know if so in this paragraph, we want to show and not tell. But we're kind of telling. He'd gone from being such a wonderful romantic man to now suddenly not nice at all. He shifted before her very eyes. And I have to impart that in a different way. I can't just command the reader to say, hey, this is what's happening. Notice this is what's... No, I have to impart that through a little more of the action. I'm going to have to add some dialogue, a little more he gets up or something where we realize we're on shaky ground now. But I won't do that now. Now he's... Whoops, I'm on the wrong page again. So I'll just skip that little bit because I have to add I have to sit and think about it. And when I'm talking, I never talk when I write, so it's hard for me to talk and write, even though I know I never shut up, which is why I'd probably be good on Twitch if I ever signed on and just prattle on endlessly. All right, so tell me, what are the ingredients? Tell me what's in the spell? What are the ingredients? I've been dying to know forever. And he is an occult metaphysical. He's actually a werewolf, so he has been around forever. He's a werewolf from another planet, in fact, which is why he's building a portal. And now, but he wants to know how to ride, how to fly, and then he can take his werewolfery even further. He took one of her hands into his paws. I must know. No, you have to be part of a coven. Which isn't true, but she's lying. But hey, they're lying to each other. I have another series of books called the Witch Upon a Star books. And in that book, it is a rite of the coven, like R-I-T-E of the coven, that you're presented with a broomstick as a rite of passage and to show how advanced up the hierarchy in the coven you are. But this isn't that series. This is a standalone book, but I kind of, you get confused writing the different things. So in this book, no, you don't have to be part of a coven. You just go do whatever the hell you want. No, you have to be part of a coven. But she's lying. It's part of a rite of passage. You learn the secret once you're initiated into a certain level of the coven. I can't talk about these things. And you know enough about occult and secrecy that I can't dispel the secrets of my coven. New lion. There's a new lion entering the room. Yeah, no, I'm sorry I'm screaming. I think my mic's probably loud. Okay, no, it just pisses me off because it's supposed to be new line like that. Okay, so this is a bunch of as well. Okay. I must know. No, you have to be part of a coven. It's part of the rite of passage. Does she want to reveal all that to him, though? The lion's a twist I didn't see coming. Then the lion entered the room to battle the werewolf and the witch. All right. No, you have to be part of... Okay, so she wants to lie about that. It's part of the rite of passage, and you learn the secret once you're initiated. Well, how about no? No. No! No, it's part of a rite of passage. And you learn the secret once you're initiated into a certain level of the coven. Great. How can I join? I don't even know what they come in. I don't know what that was. I don't know what I was saying. The Lion, the Witch, and the Werewolf. Yep. Maybe that's what I'll call this book. All we need is a centaur to be nosy. Mr. Timms, how can I join? It's right on. You learn the secret once you've initiated a certain level of the coven. Great, how can I join? And she's bullshitting again. When the student is ready, the master will appear. The interesting thing about covens is that they appear when you're ready. Ah, he's calling her on her bullshit. Maybe I'm ready. Since you're here before me. Haha. He's a smart ass, that werewolf. And we have been having quite a lot of fun together. He winked. It's not quite like that. She realizes she's digging her own hole. The coven I'm in. And you're not gonna like this. But we've been in the same one for 10 years. Ooh, she's quite the liar. We've been together and only us. And we don't want to bring anyone new in. What if one of you disappears or dies? Said the werewolf, licking his lips, smelling her juicy blood. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't want to think about that sort of thing at this point. It's something to think about when we must always have a contingency plan. What? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't want to think about that sort of thing. I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. By saying that, she's already saying she doesn't want to think about it, so she doesn't have to come right out and say, I don't want to think about it. Yes. Less is more. Oh, I got to fix that comma there. Okay. Now, one thing I will advise, like I said, the first draft, just vomit that sucker out. Don't worry too much about stuff. But when you're going through, and even when you're writing your first draft, what am I trying to say? Use punctuation. It's a pain in the ass to go back and put in all these goddamn quotation marks. Like I said, I've never done this before. I should have done quotation in, blah, 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 blah. But it's whatever. Okay, what's garbled? All of it. All of it is garbled. All right, the interesting thing about covens is that they appear when you're ready. Maybe I'm ready since you're here before me, and we've been having a lot of fun together. Okay. This one, I think, is what you're talking about. It's not quite like that. The coven I'm in, yeah, nobody talks like that. It's okay. The coven I'm in, and I know you're not going to like this, but maybe it's not quite like that. The coven I'm in, it's not quite like that. I know you're not going to like this, but we've been in. It's not quite like that. I know you're not going to like this, but we've been the same for over 10 years. The line. It's always something. Oh yeah, no, there's lots. There's lots to come. It's all every sentence is a nightmare. Don't ever dictaphone your friggin' book. Seriously, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a nightmare. This is a nightmare. Okay, it's not quite like that. I know you're not going to like this, but oh my god, now I fucked it up more. I know you're not going to like this, but oh. In the same people for over 10 years. We don't want to bring anyone new in. What if one of you disappears or dies? Well, cross that bridge. We covered it. Yeah, this fucking contingency plan line, it sucks. I'm very funny. Thank you. I write comedy horror. No. All right. It's not quite like that. I know you're not going to like this. It's been the same people for over 10. Okay, hang on. The interesting thing about covens is that they appear when you're ready. Maybe I'm ready since you're here before me. And we have been having a lot of fun together. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's not quite like that. I know you're not going to like this, but it's been the same people for over 10 years. We don't want to bring anyone new in. What if one of you disappears or dies? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There should be a contingency plan. There. Now we got rid of all that complicated nonsense. Yeah, so now he's gentle again, but we never saw anything that showed he wasn't. So that's one of the things I have to deal with. I have to go back and rectify to show through actions. And that was part of what I was doing when I was dictating. I was dictating mostly dialogue. And then my strategy was dictating dialogue and some other, some of the narrative structure. But then when I went back to rewrite, it would be mostly, deciphering is the word, I guess, excavating the dialogue and then putting in the good. Like for me, I love writing descriptions and settings and thoughts and smells, and I love doing all that. So for me, the hard part was always the dialogue to make sure every scene is moving. So I'm kind of approaching things backwards. So as I go into the next draft, which, well, God knows, because it's taken me 2 hours to write a page here, when I'm doing it for real, and when I'm going back and doing the next draft, which will be a complete second. I don't consider this a draft. This is still part of the first draft. Then I'll be adding in how he is getting agitated. Then he calms down, and how she's kind of dancing around like, oh, he's not who I think he was. Oh, and all that. So that dance of the damned will be input so that when I say something like his gentle demeanor had returned, it will, as opposed to what? He wasn't, And Paige breathed a sigh of relief. Period. No, she didn't get her period. She just breathed a sigh of relief. His gentle demeanor. I don't like that line either. So now he's going to be all curious. Now he's trying to get information a different way. Sounds like chit-chat, but he's a diggin' because he's the big bad wolf. Can you ride any old broomstick? He asked. And she says, why? Why do you want to know these things? Why? Did you want to go for a ride? And since there's only 2 people in the room, you don't always have to say he, she. We get the idea. Just plug them in now and again so that you or the reader don't get confused. So when I put in all the actions, we'll need them even less. I would love that. Is it possible? He asked. Anything is possible if you want it bad enough. And she's probably going to chuckle or something, but I'll plug that in later. Yes, I'll give you a ride. So they're going to go for another ride. They just had a ride, but, What? What? What do you need? Do you need 2 brooms, 1 broom? How does it work? He asked. He was all excited like he's a 10-year-old boy. He went into the kitchen and opened one of the cupboards and pulled out a broom. Would a werewolf in a penthouse apartment have a broom in a closet? I guess the cleaning lady would leave brooms. I mean, I'm sure it's just a Swifter, but... And he pulled out the Swifter. We're going to swift up all this fur that's laying on the ground. All right. Okay. Anything is possible if you want it bad enough. Yes, I'll give you a ride. Okay. What do you need? "16-year-old, yeah." I might even just take it all out. Because he's just a horny little puppy, you know. That's a good point, though. Very good point. Because it is an adult story, so we don't want any children in it. What do you need? Do you need 2 brooms? 1 broom? A Swifter? What? How does it work? He asked excitedly. And he doesn't have to be any age. He's just excited. There we go. We solved that issue. Okay, he went into the kitchen. Oh, I hate the word went so much. He stomped, he danced, he skipped, he... Sometimes less is more. Sometimes they do just go into the kitchen. But he has to get up off the couch, leave his cozy, lovey spot, and march into the kitchen. Thank you. Well played. I need a. If I ever get to be an affiliate, then I'll have all those little things you can click and say, "Well played," or whatever. Yes. All right. Let's see. Okay, he went into the kitchen. Okay, he has to stand up and all that, but I'll work on that another time. Oh, I have to fix that comma. See, I'm trying to put in as much punctuation now and spelling and stuff, so it's not a huge nightmare on the next pass. Okay, what do you need? Do you need 2 brooms? 1 broom? How does it work? He asked excitedly. He went into the kitchen and opened one of the cupboards and pulled out a broom. Okay, she's going to follow it. Okay, see all this? He has to get up, go into the kitchen. And she has to follow him in. I'll add that next draft. This will do, she said, as he presented it to her, period. All right. Okay, this will do, he said as he presented it to her. Yeah, I'll fix that. Okay. They went out onto this. He went over to another glass window and it slid open to a balcony. It was cool out. I believe it's spring. When did I decide this takes place? I think it's April. Yeah, it's a mess. Okay. They went. And again, I don't want them wenting. I hate the wenting, but they're going to went for now. They went out onto the balcony. Oh, they returned to the living room and slid open the large glass door and stepped out onto the balcony, which was a hellish nightmare windstorm because they're 65 floors up and it's cold. But we won't worry about that right now. Okay, they returned to the living room and slid open the large glass door and stepped out onto the balcony. It was cool and windy. They are still wearing their big plush, comfy bathrobes too, so this is why she says her next line. John, don't you think we should get dressed first since we all have our periods? Oh, what was I thinking? Why was I thinking? Ah, we know what I meant. What was I thinking? I'm so excited. They laughed, ha 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 ha, and went back into the apartment. They put on their clothes and came back. That's all a bunch of nonsense that I'll have to fix too. That's they should probably get dressed before they go on the balcony, before they get the broom. They'll probably do something like when she says, okay, I'll take you for a broom ride, but let's get dressed first. They'll probably get dressed then, and then they'll look for a broom, and then they'll go on the balcony. So that'll all get rearranged. Because we don't need to keep going back and forth. That's just time wasting bullshit. All right. Okay, let's go, she said, straddling the broom. So there'll be more detail here too of just they're not just going to suddenly be riding the broom. They have to work up to it. She probably has to say some shit, do a spell or whatever. She says, okay, let's go, she said. I think there should be a comma there. I'm not positive. Straddling the broom. Punctuation is your friend. Just hop on behind me and hang on tight. How strong is this broom? Now, here's another nightmare. Paige cleared your mind, then focused on where she wanted to go. She tapped the broom a certain combination and hummed a special song. The broom lurched between them, beneath them. Soon rose in the air. They flew across Yorkville. Across. That's my Canadian accent. And circled down around the triangle and then shot over towards the CN Tower. John was speechless the whole time as they began to ascend to the top of the CN Tower. Yeah, this is a mess. This is a big ol' mess. Okay. Paige cleared her mind and then focused on where she wanted to go. She tapped the broom with a certain. I wanted to do like a like Morse code or some like a combination lock, but it's turning on the broom activation, but certain rhythm combination. She tapped the broom with a special sequence of knocks. She, I don't know. That's dumb too. And hummed a special song. Yeah. Um, that'll all get redone in the next round. The broom lurched beneath them. That's why I changed that. So I was like, oh yeah, they're already on it. It's not between them, they're on it. The broom lurched beneath them. Oh, hang on. That was bad. He has to get on. John stood behind her. I'll find another word for straddling the broom, but I'm not going to do that now. She tapped a cadence. Yeah, you got the idea. She drummed a pattern. That's better. She tapped a pattern on the broom. How's that? Again, it's like the simplest thing. Why am I making it so hard? Thank you. Thank you so much. She tapped a pattern on the broom. There. Solved. Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you. We did it. We fixed the sentence. Oh my God. I know sometimes can't see the forest for the trees. I'm just a bunch of cliches today, and there's a lot of cliches in this passage I'm working on for you guys too. And I'll have to take out, like we'll cross that bridge when we come to it and shit like that. Those are all very cliche things that we got to find different ways to say. It's okay to have some cliches in a story, or the old habitual sayings that we all say, but then you also want to shake it up and do your own thing too. So anyways, thank you for that. She tapped a pattern on the broom and hummed a special song. Okay, that makes it better. That's much better. Wow, my dad hasn't called yet. I guess he's still at the hospital. Yeah, my phone hasn't done anything. He's probably staying for many hours because he hasn't seen her since Friday. So, yeah, my phone's right here, so I'll be ready when he calls. All right, so okay, let's go, she said, straddling the broom. Hop on, hang on tight. I use just too much in my work as well, but I'll just leave that there. John stood behind her, straddling the room. Paige cleared her mind and focused on where she wanted to go. She tapped a pattern on the broom and hummed a special song. The broom lurched beneath them and soon rose in the air. Across, across! Yeah, it is. Collaborative editing is fun. That can be I'll have a little slogan or pop up or something if I can ever figure out how to do those things, which I will one day. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, they flew across, across, across. I feel like a crow. They flew What did it think I was saying there? Like seriously, dictation phone, like or a computer. I didn't even use the phone. I used the computer. Like that should be a no-brainer what I was trying to say there. But they need to come down. They they rose in the air, but they need to swoop down. They flew across Yorkville and circled down around the triangle. I'll make that better. Like I'll describe the lights and the cars and all that jazz when I'm having more fun with it. But right now we're just trying to get from A to B. All right, then shot out towards the CN Tower. John had been speechless the whole time. Not had been. John was speechless until, because that's going to be like a 10-minute ride. They're going to talk about or look at stuff or whatever. Okay. They flew across Yorkville and circled down around the triangle and shot out towards the CN Tower. So that one sentence will be like a couple of paragraphs. John, because I have to incorporate, they got to see someone, and there's some other stuff that has to happen in there that relates to the bigger picture of what's happening in the book. John was speechless the whole time until they began to ascend to the top of the CN Tower. See right what you know. I know what it's like to be at the top. Look at all the people. So they're flying by the spinning restaurant. So there's the restaurant before the disco. The disco's not there anymore, but look at all the people eating dinner, said Paige. Don't you think they'd be freaking out if they knew what was going on out here? So that's hers. See, I know this because I wrote it, but someone looking at this, they wouldn't know that's two people crammed into one. How do you know they don't know? How do you know they don't know that I know that you know that they don't know that we know? Oh, I'm sure people have seen us many times. On our period. No. Period. Us. She's spilling the beans again. Too much. She's giving away too much information. That's what happens when you get laid. You start talking too much. Us, he asked. You mean the rest of your coven? Yes, of course. We all fly in the coven. No, yes. We all fly in the coven, even though she doesn't have one. She's lying. Of course we do. Liar, liar, pants on fire. She flies all the time with her friends, but they're not in any coven. Okay. Us, he asked. You mean the rest of your coven? Yes, we all fly in the coven. Of course we do. Oh, I thought that was firecrackers for a minute, but I think it's just a car on the ice. Car on the ice. Car on the ice. All right. Here we go. Ah, okay. It's another bunch of... okay, so wow, how do you know you're not gonna fall? Don't you get nervous flying way up here like this? He asked, with no punctuation. Okay, so this is part of the difference between screenwriting and noveling. Of course we do. Yeah, out my window. Ice, cars, Canada. We had a storm. Where are you? We're Toronto had a big storm today, and I saw there was lots of. I when I went to take my rent check over earlier, there is ice out there and salt. Yeah. So there was a car. There's like a parking lot under my window for about four cars, so it sounded like the crunching and yuckiness of trying to drive. I don't know if my new mic picked it all up. I haven't. I tried to set it how my old mic was, where I was trying not to pick up too much of the outside world, but I don't know. Question mark. Oh yeah, it's I gotta fix this whole sentence. This whole sentence is a disaster, but you're correct. He does need to ask. I gotta cut out some of this. Okay. Okay. People say okay too much. Like, how many times have I said okay in the last page? Like three times? Okay. So. And so is my, every writer has a word they use too much. Mine is so. I always gotta, even though we all say it when we talk, we don't want to see it with our eyes. Ah. So if I was screenwriting, I'd leave in all that stuff so the actor could go, oh, blah, 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 blah. But we're writing a novel, so we don't do that. Ah. How do you know? How do you know? You're not gonna fall. Don't you get nervous flying up here like this? Yeah, and you're right. He doesn't need the he asked. We'll just get rid of that. Thank you very much. Because he doesn't need to ask, he can just ask. He's asking as we speak. He's asking. How do you know you're not going to fall? Don't you get nervous flying way up here like this? Well, obviously, that's just a dumb question. He's not a dumb man. He's more interested in how she does it. Okay, there. See, we got rid of all that blah, 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 blah. And now it's just, how do you know you're not going to fall? And that makes no sense now because I took out the question. Okay, he needs to, she's explaining why she's not scared, so we need to go back. Okay, how do you know you're not gonna? Don't you get scared? Just a simple question. None of this blah, blah, blah. One, two, three, four, five. I would have left the other stuff in if it was a screenplay, but we're noveling. Okay, when I first started, I had no idea the broom would just, if the broom would just run out of juice in mid-flight. I often wonder that when I'm writing about these broomstick riding witches. Does it just stop? What if they get startled? How does it work? This isn't my first broomstick riding witch. Okay, when I first started, I had no idea if the broom would just run out of juice in mid-flight or what would happen. Sometimes I'd be afraid that I would. I'd fly so far that I'd get lost and wouldn't know how to get home, Dorothy. But I always get home. Okay, so how does this look? All right. Oh, I'm sure people have seen us many times. Us? He asked. No. Us? He asked. You mean the rest of your coven? Yes, we all fly in the coven. Of course we do. Ah, how do you know you're not going to fall? Don't you get scared? When I first started, I had no idea if the broom would just run out of juice in mid-flight or what would happen. Sometimes I'd be afraid that I'd fly so far I'd get lost and wouldn't know how to get home. But I always seem to get home. Machinations of broomstick. Just like driving stick. If only I knew how to drive stick. Driving stick on the broomstick. That's a good one. I like that. I'm just driving stick. Where's your car? Just driving stick. Yeah, give me that Swifter. I'll drive stick. Oh my God, that was good. That was a good one. That was funny. Driving stick. Okay. So some other stuff has to happen in this part here that I'm not filling in right now because I'm not sure exactly what has to, but something has to happen there. Some sort of incident has to happen there. They have to have not necessarily a discussion because they're flying around like 10 miles in the air in the wind and cold. So they're not, I mean, even that discussion about the broomstick running out of juice is a lot to say when you're flying around the CN Tower in the sky. So, yeah, some more stuff needs to happen. Then they go back to John's balcony. Driving a Swifter, modern day witching. Yep, I'm swiffing around. Don't forget your Swifters. All right, so stuff happens. I'll just bookmark it. Stuff happens. Not a lot. Not a lot happens there. It's not filler, but I need a couple of some sort of action that will progress the plot and reveal him a little more, because even though we're about, I think, about 100 pages into the book or so, she, as we saw a few paragraphs ago, she's starting to realize he's not who she thought he is, and he knows way more about her than she thought he did. So she has to have a bit of a revelation on the broomstick ride of something of some sort. I'm not too sure, but it'll make more sense to me when I cobble everything together and I'm not talking about it for an hour and a half in between. And I go back to the beginning, and because there's 4 major witches in this book. There's 4 witches and then all their lovers. Okay, they land back on John's balcony. Well, that's not very good writing, but I'll leave that for now. Both related from the related. Now they're related. They went and got a sibling test, and no, they're elated. No sooner had their feet touched the ground than John turned page around to kiss him. Again, sure did they kiss passionately on the balcony, sinking into one of the chairs. Oh, this is funny. Okay. No sooner had their feet touched the ground than John turned page around to kiss him. Her? John turned page around and kissed her. Get rid of all that shit. There's got to be more words for kissing, but I'll just say that again. And flag that I need a different word there. They necked, they made out, whatever the hell they're doing. They kissed passionately on the balcony. Sinking into one of the chairs. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I think they're pretty cold from their broom ride and they're not going to hang out on the balcony. But we'll see. They kissed. Oh, I know. They kissed passionately. Oh, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. They go back and okay, I can't change it here because it changes in a minute. Okay, they kissed passionately on the balcony, sinking into one of the chairs. We're so glad I met you. Yeah, sure. I'm so glad I met you, he said. He knew when I went into that bookstore that day. I hear you, D. DeLine. Did you ever find what you're looking on? What the hell is that? I know what I'm saying. But you guys don't. You don't know what I'm going on about. Sinking into each other. Deeply and passionately. Yeah, I know. I gotta fix all that shit. I gotta fix the passion. A lot of times, because it is an erotic book, I'll go back and fix all the sexy bits. At a different pass, I spice it up, and I gotta find words for kissed, and I'm not passionate. I've said passionate like 9,000 times up to this point, so I gotta say different ways. So I already know because I flagged it. That whole thing's changing. Gotta, they're excited from the ride. They're making out, but he's still luring her. She's not too sure what to think. So glad I met you, he said. I knew when I went into the bookstore that day. So this is a bunch of thoughts in one that only I can decipher. Okay. Did you ever find out all you were looking for with your haunted houses? So that's how they met. He came in looking for books on haunted houses. It's a work in progress. Lifelong interest, just like you. I'll read all the books and then read them again. Why not? Because that's what billionaires do. Werewolf billionaires sitting around reading about haunted houses. That's what they do. Yeah, I had no idea what that means. Nope. You have to be in here to know what it means. You have to take up residency in this rat's nest of a brain of mine to understand what the hell that was all about. But we fixed it. Okay. So glad I met you. Did you ever find what you're looking for with your haunted houses? It's a work in progress. Lifelong interest, just like you. I'll read all the books and then read them again. Why not? Okay. We don't have to say he distracted her because he's just going to lead her back in, which will distract her from her thoughts of wondering why he's looking for haunted house books, because that was kind of what she still doesn't know. Oh, there's my dad. I've been waiting for this call, and look, we have one paragraph to the end. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I have to take this call. It's my dad calling from, he just visited my mom in the hospital. So I have to take this. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Hi. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, thank you for coming. Oh, that's what the Westons do. Yeah, really. Anyways, I have to go now. But thank you so much for editing with me. That was so much fun. I hope you come back and help me out again. You had some great suggestions. I really, really appreciated it. Thank you so much. And yeah, I have to go now. But thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you, and again, thank you so very, very much for. Oh, I can't even see. Yuma Yuma Tito. I can't even say your name, but thank you. You had some great suggestions for me. I truly appreciate it. All right, have a great night, everyone. Oh, if I could find my mouse, life would be good, right?